4 out of 5 stars. I'm here with Dwight Schultz, and this is just a treat for us. We're excited to have you here at Salt Lake Comic-Con. And first of all, we want to say welcome.
Thank you. I'm having a great time.
Okay, fantastic. I love that because especially Salt Lake, we're kind of hidden. I'm glad that you're up here.
Well, I have a pretty good friend who lives here, just retired actually, but and his brother I met in Los Angeles. How I knew him, and I've worked here in Salt Lake several times. Haven't seen a lot of it because you're working and it's sort of like this, but it's so beautiful. So beautiful here, yeah.
Okay, well, love it. Right. Well, one of the things we want to find out about is what has been the favorite project you've worked on?
Well, the A-Team, of course, was it changed my life, and so it's very special to me.
I have to tell you, too, it also changed mine. You may not know this, but it did.
That's a story we'll tell off camera, right?
Yeah.
And then fortunate enough to be on Star Trek, which went for 13 years when I never thought it would go past the first episode. But of all the roles that I've played, and it was in the theater, and many years ago, there's an actor named Red Skelton, and he became famous playing the role of Aubrey Piper in a play by Kelly called The Show Off, which is the most beautifully crafted play. And if you're in the theater or if you're a comedian, the play it works out in such a way as that the last 30 minutes, the actor is playing Aubrey Piper, sits on stage and smokes a cigar, and the audience has been set up for this. And every single line that he has causes the audience to go in uproarious convulsions of laughter. And all you do is sit there and watch them. And it is it's for an actor in the audience to have that. It was the greatest experience in the theater that I've ever had, and I'll never forget doing that. It's one of those things that propels you on. You want to have that experience again. I guess it's like drugs, but anyway.
Okay, I love that. That just sounds phenomenal. I want to go check it out myself.
Yes, you have to read it, because if you read it, you'll understand how well it is. And one of the problems with show business is that if you're an actor, a young actor, and you work with the classics, you get this great sense of, and you're working with the classics because these are the best. Yeah. And then you have to go to Hollywood, and then you get this crap, and you realize, that was the best of the best, and that's what I was working with. Now I'm trying to make something that's not quite so good better, and you really get that. But you have to do that through experience, and you find out what's good and what isn't.
Definitely. Now, there are a lot of people who, they're big fans, and then there are also people who follow you and would like to become an actor like you. Right. What advice would you give to them?
My advice to actors today is to become a stand-up comic. I mean that. Create your own material. It's the only way today that you have a say about your career. The business is so different. It's so disparate. It is nowhere near as friendly to the new artist as it was back in the 60s, 50s. It's very, very hard. You want some kind of control. Also, if you do your own material and you go through the pains of stand-up comedy, you get to see what you are about in front of an audience. And that, if you think of some of the big shows in the past, they're comedians who get shows on Romano, Seinfeld. All these, there are writers and producers in Hollywood who see a young actor who's connecting with the audience, and then they say, "We want him." Yeah. And then, even if it only goes for a year or two on television, if you're lucky enough, you then are viable. You're visible, and so that's how I would recommend a young person to enter show business today, to do your own stuff.
I think that's fantastic advice and counsel for anyone out there.
Well, that's my advice.
Okay, well, we appreciate that so much. And then one of the things that we want to hear about your upcoming projects. What are some of these things that we can look forward to? Because especially for all these Comic-Coners out here, they're looking and they're wanting to find out more.
Well, I do a lot of video games. And video games have gone through a transformative phase. In one way, you used to go and just voice an actor. Now you're doing motion capture. So you're 360 degrees. You're acting in a space, an empty space, but you're physically moving and acting again. And the other aspect of it is that you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement that you cannot talk about it because it takes 2.5 years and they don't want their ideas to get out. So all the projects I'm doing, I can't talk about. It's like my wife is a family therapist, right? And my daughter, she just got out of the Marine Corps. She was in intelligence in the Marine Corps. Neither of them could talk about anything that they did. I was the only person who could talk about himself, which is good for an actor. But
Well, and I think that's fantastic. Because you're like, okay, so just watch out in the gaming world. I'll be coming out soon.
that's right. I like to be invisible, so if you don't know that it's me, that's good. But if if it sounds like, but this last thing I did. Well, not the last thing. The next to the last thing I did was the vilest thing I've ever done. I mean, it's the vilest villain, VV, vilest villain that I have ever played, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's actually well written.
Okay, so we'll have to look forward to that too. Yes. V squared out there, vilest villain, and so Dwight. So, and in any case, one last thought. What do you think of Salt Lake Comic-Con?
Well, it's enormous. It's just simply enormous. And I was talking to John Delancey today, this morning. Everyone is so incredibly lovely. Yeah. I mean, the fans are just amazing. They're just amazingly lovely and sweet. And it's very different. I mean, we were both saying that this is different than a lot of times people are like, I want your autograph. Come here. Here, it's a real. People want to meet you. Yeah. And it's lovely.
Well, I think it goes back to what I said at the beginning. No, literally, the A-Team did change my life. And so when you have watched certain things, and it literally has made some different life choices for you, and those actors, whether they realize or not, it's helped to improve lives. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, stay tuned, and we'll be back with more. Thanks so much for joining us at Salt Lake Comic-Con on 4 out of 5 stars. Be sure to also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/4 out of 5 stars.